What's up, you guys? Okay, so DC is going to hop over to this live. I just sent her the StreamYard link. Um, and so I'm going to look because let me see because I was going to do the part 2 of the video we did yesterday, but are they live right now? Oh, shut up. We may be able to jump on a live Zoom. So, hey, all right, you guys. And I'll insert a disclaimer and all of that jazz later. Let's see if DC hops in. And let me see if I can get this Zoom. Because some beautiful person sent me a link yesterday. So I am attempting to get into a live Zoom. What's up, you guys? This is going to be really funny if we can make this work because and I'm not sure which person is conducting the Zoom yet.
Hero!
Okay, so I'm attempting to get into a live Zoom. Give me just a sec.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I had someone send me, and honestly, I think it may be from the Slay Squad. They are going live 3 times a day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So they're going live 3 times a day to do like power hours.
Oh my god. Yeah, because they're not doing well. Oh yeah, so I brought all of my viewers over here into your live, so we're good. Y'all, even better, we are sneaking into a Zoom call. You know what? Maybe they're live in the Facebook group though. What if let's
They
see.
could be. I've got a Zoom link. I just need to put in the password.
Oh yeah. Okay. Amy's on top of it.
It's telling me it's invalid.
Oh
Hold
god.
on. Okay, because they're doing them 3 times a day. Let me try again. This meeting link is invalid. Let me see. Yeah, so someone sent it to me yesterday because I had talked about who my new coach is because Anita, is Anita.
Yeah.
And my new coach is Leslie Cortez, and she is doing some of them, some of the lives. Join from browser. Oh man, did they change the link? No, ma'am. Okay, what name should I put down?
Because I'm in the I don't know. Here, here's a name from the group. Drew. Oh no, that's Kate Hartley. You want to do that's someone in the group right now. Megan
Who?
MEGAN space VILLAR.
Okay. And I'm going to say no on starting video.
Perfect.
Where's my audio? Join audio by computer. Can you hear it?
Not yet. Maybe you'll have to add it first to the stream.
Once you are like kind of, you've been building this a little while and now we're starting to on social media, then here's 2 different ways that you can do that. Can I move the captions? I can't.
Oh my god.
Facebook, you can add friends. So look at friends of friends, Facebook groups, or go into larger accounts, not body specific. And then on Instagram, you can go onto bigger accounts that appeal to you, that would have followers in your niche. Follow people who are actively engaging on Instagram. Okay, like big accounts, non-body specific.
Oh, man.
You can look for people who have stories going, right? So like people who have stories going, they're active on Instagram.
Okay, can you hear her?
I
So
could,
I
and
muted
now I
her.
can't, but she's
Okay, so I muted her. Can you
okay.
hear her still?
No, I can't hear.
Okay, so let me explain who this woman is that we're listening to. Her name is Holly, and Holly so they're adding oh, I can unmute. They're, because 'cause they're just doing the ad right now. So, um, Holly is, um she was one of Chalene Johnson's main peeps.
Really?
Yeah, she's in the original Turbo Jam videos, and so she has been in forever. She
Mm.
doesn't really actively promote anymore. She's still I think she still teaches group fitness. Um, the thing that's killing me, like, even looking at this okay, looking at this, her ad followers, this is so outdated. You cannot go into Facebook groups anymore and do this. And friends of friends on Facebook, that doesn't work. Like, none of this, the stuff that they're telling the new folks to do is not effective.
Yeah, it's like 10 years old at this point. Like, it's just not it's just I mean, ad tag message, like, it doesn't even work that well anymore.
Mm-mm.
So, I don't know why they're doing this unless they just have no idea about marketing.
And they don't. Here's the problem that I see is they think that they do know marketing, because they were successful in building a Beachbody business that she probably started in 15 years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
So, that and then that's like, "Oh, well, obviously I can still do it."
Uh,
Okay, DC, I'm gonna mute because I have to talk to my child's vice principal because 'cause I'm peeved. I'll talk about it later.
okay. Hello, chat. Yes, there's 7.1 thousand followers in Slay Squad, and they are busy bees. They are busy, busy, busy bees. So I will try to keep this, I don't know, as interesting as I can. They used to have a lot more leaders. And we should still do this. Micah Folsom, uh, Trina Gray, Kim Fitzpatrick, Lori Stewart, Brittany Leggett, Christina Delgado, Courtney Dukes, something. It's so pixelated. Like, why wouldn't you just upload a good picture? Moira Kukaba, Janelle Summers, Lindsay Matway, Holly Hillier, Melissa McAllister, uh, something, Nikki Whiting, Monica Lopez. Why can I not see anything? Ashley Feldson, I don't know. That's just the top row. Chelsea Pearson, Allie Upham, Jamie Shepard, Meg Kozlowski, Julie Voris, Katie Heifner, Jen Richardson, Barbie Kalev, Melissa and Robert Hudgens, Aaron Hopkins, Bonnie Engel, Amy Mashburn, Alyssa Shoemaker, Jess Dukes, and Kelsey Hill are all the Slay Squad leaders in this group, and there used to be a lot more in 2022. I wouldn't say it was double in 2022, but it was a lot more. And we're not allowed to post in this group. They're only the leaders do. What Chelsea Pearson did a call. Oh, the recording for the call yesterday is already up? What? Can we download this right now? Yes, we can. We'd love to see it. Wow, I'm going to get into so much trouble while Amy's on the phone with her vice principal. Download. If you need a good program, the one I use is Vimeo. For downloading Vimeo, private ones are not supposed to be downloading. So, yes. Hi, Jennifer. So many trans subs in MLM. Yes. it's just wild to me that we're watching this. It says add followers 10 minutes. They literally cannot be trusted. The people in their downlines cannot be trusted to do the work, so they have to watch them to make sure they do the work so that they can keep their commission checks high. So, I love that program. Me too. I cannot wait to download this. I love seeing Amy being a mama bear, so I'm just like sounds fun. I'm done with work, so I'll lurk until I get home. Alexis, I love that. I don't know who. So let me know in the chat because we're just killing time until they come back. What? Who do y'all think is the most interesting body coach to look at? Not the super trainer, but who do you think is the most interesting body coach? Oh, do you see hair? Your hair tip saved my hair. Oh, cool. I love that. Watching mama bears makes me sad because I needed that and didn't have it. I'm sorry, Rosie Posey. Help Amy out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Amy, listen, so let me tell you a story. And I know y'all probably have already heard it. So if you've heard it, just go along with it. I was in a Discord, in Aaron's Discord, and I had just gotten out of Young Living, and I had messaged just in the empathy chat or whatever, like, I'm having a rough time. I just left my multi-level marketing group. I didn't realize it was going to be this hard, and I don't know what to do. I'm like really struggling. And Dave sent me to Amy's video, and he was like, "You should." Okay, coconuts. I've been bad about checking it. He sent me to Amy's video, and I watched Amy's video, and I left a message, and then I slid into her DMs, and then the her and Jen B and Cheryl and Amber kind of just took me into a warm hug, and so we started snarking on Beachbody, and it's just been busy over the summer, so we haven't been able to do it as much, but Amy's great, so sub to her. Oh, my spouse is calling. One second. I'm sorry. 1 second. I don't know why he's awake right now. Japan, it's very late. My cat is semi-trying. I was trying to click on this to bring it up on the screen. My cat is laying on my lap and making it difficult to type. Oh my gosh. I love cats so much. I miss our stray cat that is at the house we just sold. He's not our cat. I think he lived next door or something, but I used to feed him every day. And he would come inside and he would just want to walk from the back door to the garage door to like just make a loop. He'd want to drink a few licks out of Caspian's fountain. And I was like, if I wasn't allergic, I would keep you because he was the sweetest cat. He had no tail. He was getting beat up by the neighborhood cats. And so I let him sleep in our garage and stuff. And I miss him a ton. I called him Gray Boy. and he was the best cat. I loved OG Beachbody like P90X and Brazilian butt lift. Why did they have to turn to the dark side? I don't know. It's awful. Lick the stream. Yes. Oh, we've got this. How to build your coaching toolbox. Yay. 58 minutes. Let's go. What else can we download? What else
There's
can
our timer. We're going to move along to the next part. We're connecting now, building relationships. Okay, here's a little tip.
here, right?
Ask questions, right? Try to leave messages that make people want to reply back to you and respond back to you. So on Facebook, you can send birthday messages. Here's a little
No.
tip, send them in advance because a lot of people are going to get bombarded with messages and posting on their wall on their actual birthday. But they're probably not going to get them a couple days in advance. So you might want to check those out. Message people that you just started following, send them a personal message. Always, always, always end with a question. Okay. And then reply to people that are watching your stories, right? So maybe you want to watch their story and see something that they've been up to and make a comment and then ask them a question at the end. Instagram, you can send personal messages here, also end with a question. New followers, people that you people who watched your stories, you can go and reply to likes and comments. You can go to pages of people that you follow and engage with stories, engage with their posts. Okay, we're doing this for 10 minutes. It's pretty simple. Be a human. We're just connecting. We're not looking to connect any dots or invite them. I mean, if that happens organically, fantastic, but we're just trying to be social on social media, which is what social media wants us to do. Here we go.
Nina. Holy crap. Don't do that in Germany. Graduating before the actual birthday date course. Gratulating before the actual birthday date causes bad luck. Just send messages to the entire world. Jeez. You know what's... It's so Oh, Brittany Leggette's on this call. Dang. You know what's on... Like, you think that randomly you could be having a really low birthday or a really sad birthday month, and someone randomly who you think doesn't even think about you or that you would be happy to hear from reaches out and says, "Happy birthday." Or they say like, "Happy birthday, DC," or "Happy birthday, Amy," or "Happy birthday, Rosie Posey." And it lifts your spirits, and it really is just a play in the long game of trying to warm up a market to uh get you to think fondly about multi-level marketing. Ew. Hello. We
Okay,
were regaling your mama bear mode, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we love it." And there are people in the chat that are like, "I wish I had a mom like Amy because my mom was not, you know."
And this, it actually kind of falls into this type of category with what I'm dealing with right now. Can I just say, you think like you're like, "Oh, I can totally handle having kids." And then you have kids and you're like, what the hell? What was I thinking? This is like, so,
Oh.
so she is, so this is my daughter that is in middle school, and you could not pay me to go back to middle school, for anything. It is so hard. And, um, the last few days I've noticed like we had my my youngest has an addiction to chicken wings. He loves chicken wings. He wants them
Okay.
all the time.
Yeah.
So we had chicken wings and like grapes and something else for dinner, and she would only eat the grapes. She was like, "I'm just not hungry." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to force you to eat if you're not hungry."
Right.
But then it's been like, I've been noticing it consistently that
Oh.
and so yesterday I picked her up from school and I was like, "Hey, how was school today?" And she's like, "It was awful." And I said, "Well, why was it awful?" And she said, "Well, this boy just keeps calling me fat." Like,
No.
"Oh, it's going down for real. Like, I will go and take this kid out," because, like, just seeing how it has impacted her so much,
Oh
um,
my god.
and that is part of what started me down my path in middle school was comments from a boy. And so she said that she went and talked with the vice principal yesterday. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to call and talk to the vice principal because like this morning my youngest was like, Mom, will you make me cinnamon toast? And I was like, yeah, sure. Callie, do you want some? And she's like, well, maybe just a half a piece.
Oh no.
And I was like, Cal, like, come on, honey. Like, no, it's so we kind of had that talk, and we've had that talk with her doctor before because she made a comment to him that like, "Oh no, I'm getting, fat." And
Oh,
and he was like, "Do you know how this works?" And she was like, "No, what?" And he said, "Your body is super smart and your body knows like I'm going to start getting tall and I better be ready for this." And so it starts to get ready. And
yeah.
then you get really tall and it's like, "Whoa, what happened?" And he said, "So, in 6 months, let's look and see if you got taller." And so we did, and sure enough, she had grown like a ton. And he said, that's what happens. Like, this is what bodies do, and bodies are normal, and everybody's different, and that's great. And so, like, just it's so frustrating. And I was so mad this morning. I was like, "Oh, man." And I think, like Rosie Posey just said, I ran into my grade 3 bully a couple years ago at the bank, walked right out. I doubt she even recognized me. I can tell you the name of the boy that said it to me. I can tell you what I was wearing. I can tell you what class we were in. Like, this creates such core memories.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so I'm like, okay, and I don't know that I'm equipped to dealing with this
Yeah.
in the best way possible for her.
Yeah.
Um, and so it just ugh. And I am so grateful for this doctor that he was so good with her and talking to her about these things. And um because so many doctors are not kind, and they're like, "Oh." And she is by no means like anything except perfect. Like, she's perfectly her. I think she has a different body type than her sisters, and so that kind of plays into it, I think.
Yep.
Um, but the complete just how awful kids can be to each other, and you don't realize that, um, that it impacts you forever.
Yeah.
And then you end up doing something like this
Yep.
because you're like, "I need to do something to make myself, you know, be the stereotypical or the societal expectation. And so I'm gonna tell someone happy birthday and get them to join my pyramid scheme, and they're gonna lose weight and they're gonna be rich and everything's gonna be great." And
Yeah.
oh no, yeah, I thank goodness we are very much proponents of therapy. And
Yeah.
so we do have a therapist for her and for I think I have one for all of my kids except for the youngest. I need one, dang it. Okay. So busy taking care of my kids that I'm like, "Okay, maybe I should get one because this like, lifing is hard."
Yeah. You're a
Um,
good mom.
yeah, um,
It's
I
wild.
it is, and, like, no idea where they get it from. I am going to blame a lot of it on social media and the things that they see on YouTube, on Instagram, on, whatever. And she is not on those things.
Yeah.
However, they have access to YouTube at school. They have access, to those things, and you can't insulate them.
Yeah.
So equipping them with how to handle it is just rough. And at
And
5,
and even, like, when I was in middle school, I remember seeing groups of kids and you saw, like, oh, the kids who are popular, like and you try as a kid to make maybe logical fallacy jumps of, like, how are they popular? Well, they're skinny, well, they wear this, well, their hair looks like this, well, they wear makeup, whatever it is, you know, and you try to like make some kind of logical like, okay, well, I want to be friends with this person, or you get utterly devastated because some kid, some guy starts, you know, teasing you, and it's like you're already trying to figure life out, and your brain is changing, your body's changing, and then someone comes in and is like, "Oh, you're fat." Like, what the hell?
Right? I mean, well, and it was funny, so I was so mad about it last night, and my husband was like, "All right, let's sit down and talk," because 'cause he'd had a rough day. I was mad. He's like, "All right, let's talk everything out." So we talk his stuff out, and then we're talking my daughter's stuff out, and he was like, "You have some really great things to say to her. Why don't you say those same things to yourself?" I'm like, "It's so much easier to say those things to
Yeah.
someone else, and especially to my child who I'm, like, super protective over."
Yep.
And he's like, "Amy, you're saying all the right things, but you need to internalize it as well, right?" Like, I still have those same issues and those same thoughts and those same, things, whether it's the magazines, someone mentioned, like,
Yep.
it's everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, and it's wild when your body changes from, you know, with maybe an onset of chronic pain or, you know, an injury or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and it's like, "Oh, how do I love my body right now?" And you're also, you know, if you're in the commentary space and you're commenting on body or Q Sciences or Prove It, and they're always about fat loss, you know, weight loss, before and afters, and it, you know, it impacts you when you see it, or you listen to Autumn Calabrese talking about whatever she's talking about and, like, eating less, and it's like, dear God, it just kinda seeps in sometimes, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I there's one you wanna love the body that you have, you know, and it's hard to, so
Well, and it's hard, like, I try to be grateful for the things my body has done, especially this past year, like, I've had both knees replaced, like, it's
Okay, we're gonna move
been
on to
through
the
it.
next
Okay, let's
slide.
see what
I
the
hope y'all
next
are still here with me.
crap
Let's check it
is.
out. Yep, we still got people on. Fantastic. We're going to move into our next slide, inviting to challenge groups. So,
Oh,
first and
god.
foremost, what are you inviting to? Are you inviting to anything specific right now? If you're not, I need you to figure that out. Like, what are
figure it out
you going
right
to
now.
specifically invite to? Maybe you are loving a block, a body block right now. Maybe you want to send a sample workout video. Maybe you want to share more about Shakeology because it's transformed you. Maybe you want to talk about our Shake and Hustle pack. Okay, so just figure out what you're inviting to. Next, I want you to figure out who you're going to invite. Okay, who are you going to invite? Meaning,
Oh.
you're going to be doing your invites, right? Facebook. Are you going to go to are you going to go to Instagram? Are you going to go over to your customer list? Are you going to go into your old
Yeah,
challengers?
I have an appointment next
When is
week,
this happening?
so
That's always
thank
important
you
to
very
know, when is this
much.
happening. I mean, if you're just sharing a sample workout or something like
Oh,
that,
kids are
there's
the
not really
worst.
like a deadline on it. But I want you to set your own fast approaching deadlines. And then next is, why are you doing this? This is a big one. You need to know why you're doing this. Like, why is it important for somebody to check out a sample workout? Why is it important for someone to try Shakeology for the first time? Why do you want to share this
There's
business with
no good
people?
reason to try
Just
Shakeology.
kind of like put that in your brain
Awful.
for a couple minutes and kind of
So
let
bad.
that marinate. Then that will help you actually do the inviting itself. Oh, good. Danielle's inviting to a partner membership starting on Friday. I love that. That's good.
No,
So,
it's not. It's
anybody else,
not
pop
good.
into the
It's
chat.
not good.
What are you inviting to right now? What are you inviting to right now? Well, I'm in the middle of a challenge group right now, personally. So I'm going to go back to those people who were on the fence, not ready to purchase, etc. I'm going to talk those free gut course 101.
No.
Good. I love that.
What?
Portion control. Um, partner
No!
membership. Good. Mentorship, I mean. Very good. All right. So let's get going. We're going to get you some samples here. Okay. So this one is probably not
Oh, let's give them some
tailored to your
scripts.
partner membership, but however, you can, adjust these as need be. Let me shrink this down so that I can put these into the chat for you.
And so that
So
you can
here
just
are some
copy and
examples.
paste. Just copy and paste these bad boys.
Somebody who's liking your transformation posts.
Oh.
Okay, so you can
What are
send this
people in
type
the
of
chat
message to
saying?
them. Here's one that you can send. Hold on. Second one. The second one is like somebody who's just following in your stories. Somebody who's on your warm or hot market list is the third one. Okay, so you'll be able to see the slides in a minute, but I did put them into the chat. Please, 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 please do not follow these verbatim. These are just examples. Okay, these are examples for you to utilize and use.
We all
right. So
did
you
them
can
verbatim.
take them, change them, and then invite. We're going to do this for 10 minutes. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Okay. So here's part of the problem with what she's doing. So, Natasha Pearson this week. So last week she was advertising it. Natasha's the number one coach in body. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So Natasha's the number one coach, and she was going to do a weight loss influencer workshop. Okay, because I mean, she was featured on Entertainment Tonight. Like, she went completely and totally viral for her weight loss journey, right?
Yeah.
And so she's teaching people how to do it. It was totally a beach body opportunity call.
God.
That's what it was. And it was like, you're not teaching them how to be a weight loss influencer. You're trying to enroll them in your pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
there's such a difference. And it made me so mad. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I happen to have that recording, but, I was pretty like, are you kidding me right now? Because Andy's Web, I'm going to cry. I am so sorry. That makes me
Oh my god.
tear up because and then I can't. It's, and I've had to deal with this with several of my kids. I've asked my husband and I were like, what have we done? Because our kids seem to get bullied a lot. And I um and I asked him, and he said it's because we've raised them to be loving, compassionate, understanding, and they make a really good target because that is how they treat everybody, and it makes them an easier target. And so I'm like, do you know what? I wouldn't change it. I would much rather have children who are compassionate and empathetic and loving, but it doesn't make me want to. It doesn't help any less that I'm like, I'm going to go take these kids out.
Yeah.
And I think, oh my gosh, yes, they mistake that kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they do.
And it's like, man, that's, I had my now 18-year-old did school from home for the longest time because of the amount of bullies that they had.
Oh my god.
Because again, just like a very sweet soul. And it just it's awful.
Yeah.
All right. We can talk about challenge groups. Okay. I did these things. Like you would post these almost verbatim, especially if you were of the belief that you had to send out 10 to 50 messages a day. You didn't have time to type them all out. You just didn't.
Yeah.
And so the thing that surprises me though is that they think this is still effective. Like
Yeah.
any of these messages, dang well, at least this one, they didn't have like name in parentheses. Because those were my favorite when you would get that hi name.
In parentheses. Yeah. Like, come on, guys.
Come on.
Come on.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Do you want a story about this?
Yes.
Okay. Again, school, but this time my child was in, we hadn't moved yet. So first grade, second grade, maybe. And came home and actually before they got home, I got a call from the school and they were like, so there was an incident today, but we've handled it and everything is fine. We made sure that your child knew that this student doesn't actually know where they live. They don't actually know who their family is. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And
Oh
so
my god.
when this kid gets home, I was like, so what happened at school today? And like just the look on the face and the exact quote was, "Oh snap. How do you know these things?" And I was like, "Because I'm a mom. I'm a mom. We just know these things." And so what happened is this little girl sitting next to them said, said that she was going to come kill our family and gave very specific details about how all of this would happen. And she had been kind of bullying my child like for an extended period of time. And I said, I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Like, I am going to this school and I want her out of your class. I want, all these things."
Yeah.
And this kid, oh my gosh. So my child looks at me and says, "Mom, I don't want you to do anything." And I said, "Oh, and why is that?" And he said, "Because I know that she doesn't have a good mommy and daddy, and she doesn't even have a mommy and daddy. She's with someone else right now that's taking care of her, and
Oh,
she doesn't have anyone to love her. So I am going to love her." And I was like, "Okay, I'm bowing down to you right now, my little 8-year-old who is saying these things." But like I was like, I love that, and thank you, sweetheart. However, like if anything else happens, we need to take care of it." They were like, "Just give me a chance, mom. Give me a chance." And I was like,
oh.
"Oh, okay." And they became really good friends.
Oh my
And
god.
like she was in foster care. She'd been bounced around from house to house. Um, and so I'm like, can you even imagine the things that this little one has seen to
No.
be able to go into like the detail that she went into? I'm like, no 6-year-old, 7-year-old should know any of these things. And the fact that she does is scary.
Yeah.
And oh, like this child, and it is not my parenting or my husband's parenting in the least. This one came this way. My 18-year-old is just truly amazing.
Yeah.
I am just shocked daily at their level of love and service
Oh,
for others. Like they're but like that's why it's scary to have your child in school right now.
yeah.
Like, ugh, it's awful.
Yeah. So I have a question. It's a little bit of a like a parallel, but not. Have you been following the Ruby Frankie, Jody Hildebrandt
Yes.
stuff? And I guess, like, because you're such an empathetic parent and you and your husband are, like, such good parents and your kids are incredible, I didn't know, like, and I don't wanna do, like, a content like, I don't wanna, like, delve into it because it's so traumatic of a topic, but have you, like, been talking like, do you know about it and, like
I do, and um, it well, and I'm not sure how much to say because so I was listening to a podcast on it, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, Ruby Frankie lives in Springville. Chad Daybell was from Springville. Maybe there's a connection. Guess
Oh,
what?
no.
I'm from Springville.
No way.
I graduated from Springville High. I am a Red Devil.
What?
So
Oh.
I was like, "No, it's not Springville. It is not Springville. Please don't group us there because it's not Springville."
Yeah.
Um, but, I do think that there's so I the thing I think that makes me the most shocked about her is the fact that she was so public about the various levels of abuse that she did for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what makes someone think that, like, to post this online? I mean, it kind of goes back to body, right? The things that Ashley
Yeah.
Molstad will post about her kids. I'm like, why would you show your daughter sobbing
Yeah.
and being, like, totally nonchalant about this, or, the not having lunch, those type of things, like, the fact that she was just so brazen about showing these things, it's like, yikes.
Yeah, and it's just wild, like, you're doing this public stuff, like Ashley Molstad not replacing her daughter's inhaler because she, would shake it and felt that there was more in there even though the counter was at 0, and I was telling Eloise about that, and Eloise was like,
All right, we're gonna move on to our next
"Holy crap."
topic here.
Alright, we'll keep
Inviting to
talking
the
about it.
business. Yay! Actually, when I was sending out my invites just now, I was reminded of somebody. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to her about business in a long time. So um I would love, I'm gonna pop these into the chat for you too. Here's a couple just sample scripts that you can use them or not, tweak
I don't
them,
use
whatever
them.
works for you. Actually,
No.
I lead like multiple different little mastermind groups within my team, and my leaders are all part of one little pod. And one of the leaders today said she had a really brilliant idea because she had done a bunch of business
Brilliant.
invites
I'm
and
sure
none
it's
of them
brilliant.
have actually
Yeah.
replied back to her, which happens so often, right? Like we get crickets. And that's okay. It's
Yeah,
totally
because
fine. But
nobody wants to
she had a
join.
great idea, and she
Mhm.
went back to all those people who had not responded and say, "Hey, um you know what I mean? Because they got the information, but then they didn't follow up. It's not like her first initial invite. They got the information, and it seemed like they were not interested after that. So she said, "Hey, doesn't really seem like this is a good fit for you. However, do you know anybody who is looking to, create?" Basically, she's asked for a referral. Create
Get referrals? No.
an additional stream of income, and or just looking to improve in their health and fitness. Like, I would love it if you could connect us. So she sent out like a referral invitation. I'm like, hey, that's kind of smart. So
No.
that person gets like a second touch, basically.
No,
So those are
because
some
people
ideas for you,
feel guilty about
and we're going to do this
to
for the
give up their
next
friends.
10 minutes.
God.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Literally, people feel guilty about saying no to you, so then
Actually,
when
we'll
you
do this for 15 minutes to
oh
take
my
us to the close here. Hold on.
Oh
Let me
my
just
gosh.
reset my
timer.
17 minutes. Here we
'Cause
go.
no one can
Let's
be
go.
trusted to work on their own. So it's like someone's like, "Oh, people feel bad about offering something negative," and so then you give them an out. "Hey, this I know this doesn't seem like the right fit for you, but do you know someone like you who's nice, who is confident, who is looking to be, who actually likes to exercise? I'm looking to talk to more people like that. Do you have anybody that who comes to the top of your head?" And then I'm looking for someone nice like you know what I mean? Like, and that'll make them laugh. And then I'm like, yeah, try Susie, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, no, no. You're saying like, okay, because you said no, can you give up your friends? No, the
No.
answer is no. You know how I know to do that? Because I did that when I was a Mary Kay.
I did it too. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that it's so important to have, like, us doing this,
Yes.
is that, like, we did this. Do you guys I can read okay, I'll read the first one. Hey, okay, so I've been super nervous to ask you this, but I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off because it's just been on my heart lately. You always have stood out to me as someone who is super positive and your energy is contagious. I'm always looking for people I would love to work with on my team. Have you ever considered doing what I'm doing? No worries either way, but I really do think you would be amazing at this. Are you open to hearing about it?
That's an awful script.
It is. Oh,
God. Yeah, and it's like, "Oh, hey, girl" message. It's like, "Oh my gosh, I've been meaning to ask you," and the second one is like, "I've been meaning to ask you this and just getting to it this morning. Hashtag mom life." That's a freaking lie. But
oh
I
my
know the other day you mentioned you love fitness too, and I always love following you because you always have great tips and advice. Dot dot. Have you ever considered looking into what I do? I really think you'd rock it. Plus, it's fun, but really no worries. If it's not a good fit for you, would you be willing to watch a quick video about what our mission in the health wellness industry is? No, this is an
You
awful
added the is. You added the is.
Oh, I
It
did.
doesn't say that. It's a totally wonky sentence.
It is a wonky sentence. God. And I just watched like 25 hours of the Ray Higdon conference, and it's like a mind meld of awfulness, but his scripts were better than this, but worse in the sense
Mm.
that he was teaching people how to manipulate a no into a yes, and it was just ugh, gross.
Well, and it totally is this whole been on my heart. It is saying like God led me to this. I was
Yep.
led here to do this. God wants me to reach out to you.
It makes
Um,
you feel special. Like,
and
it
you
makes you
do.
feel like you could have no friends, or you could have a hard time making friends, and it makes you feel like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a strange coincidence, but you were the first one that came to my mind when I was thinking about this." And I know it's out of, it's really random, and we haven't talked in a while, but I decided to be courageous and reach out, and it makes you feel special because it's like, wow, someone thought of me and they didn't. They're going down a freaking list. It's
Yes, they are.
devastating when you find out. It's devastating.
It is. Well, and the worst part is when you find out because you come to a training like this and then you see the exact message that was sent to you
Yep.
on this and you're like, "Hold on." And it starts to like break your shelf. You're like, "Wait, I wasn't special. Oh, wait. Like this was just a scripted response that you sent to me." And it hurts.
Yep. Yeah.
Ugh.
And
And
it's
they are way too wordy. I agree with that too.
Yeah, and you should okay, not to give MLM people more tips, but the whole deal is these are bad scripts because there's a yes and no answer that you can give to these questions. And that is what you would never want to do that in a sales opportunity, in a sales conversation, because it closes down the conversation so quickly. So it just shows how inexperienced these people in body are and how badly they're setting their teams up for failure. You never ask close like questions that can end in a yes or a no. You just don't do it.
Well, and it's interesting because, when Holly started this 15 years ago, this probably did work.
Yeah.
It probably did. Um, but things have changed so much that there's just no way, and they're not keeping up on it. So it's really odd to me that Holly is even conducting this. I haven't heard or seen from her in ages.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look on my list and see if she's even in, like, the top, because I happen to have one of the more updated lists.
Oh, yeah, Amy has all the body stuff. She's in all the groups. She has access to all the rankings. It's super good.
'Kay,
Yeah.
so Holly's not even anywhere, like, in the top 300.
Oh, snap. So I wonder if she's trying to, use this group to get her team to start working again.
My guess is that she is not necessarily so much concerned about her own recruits. She's trying to get her downline to get her volume, would be my guess.
Mm,
Um, they've all lost a lot of their downlines. I mean, even just the fact that at Summit, they only had 12,000 people there. Um, I mean, like I said, when I went, they had like 40,000.
dang.
So they're going down for real.
Oh my god, I love your music references.
Can you tell I went to the gym today and my favorite, let's see, I started with Low by Flo Rida. What else? I don't know. It was pretty amazing.
That's incredible.
So Hannah, here's the interesting thing. I don't think at her level, I wonder if she really even cares about her rank. Um, I think at her point is volume. Oh my gosh, yeah, that cat is adorable on the floof. Can you see that one on Jennifer LeBlanc's? Her cat is sitting like right in front of the camera.
Oh my god, I love that. Oh my god, it's the best thing.
Um, but I don't know that Holly is concerned about it. I think she's more concerned with volume and money. Um, because, I mean, most of them, they try to hit a rank in order to like, "Ooh, look how successful I am," but none of them maintain it. Like,
Yeah.
they can't maintain those high ranks anyway. Um, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Hey, if you're here watching or if you're on the replay crew, make sure to hit the thumbs up. It really helps Amy's channel and get this body content out to more people who are looking for beach body content and helping maybe add some I don't know, some real true info that can help people get out. So if you haven't hit the thumbs up, she'd love that. And I
Yes.
did that for her.
Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to find oh, I'm not. Okay, so if you alright, so I just went to Holly's Instagram. She has 3,000 followers,
Ooh, interesting.
and she has joined my team of entrepreneurs,
Oh,
which means her Beachbody team. But
interesting.
on her profile, online business startup coach, entrepreneur. I help women transition from demanding corporate jobs and help them build an online franchise to create monetary and time freedom.
Do you? Really? Tell us. Tell us more.
I mean,
Except
and I'm just gonna say, ma'am, that is completely and totally against compliance.
yeah.
Nowhere on there are you identifying yourself as a body coach.
Jemima doesn't give a flippity flop.
No, they do not.
You know how many times we've tried to email compliance and they're like, they go back and forth with Gen B or they go back and forth with Amy or Cheryl or Amber or whoever, and they really, at this point in time, do not care. Even though we watched one Zoom that Ashley Molstad had posted to YouTube a long time ago where Jemima had done a custom compliance training for her, and they know. The
Oh,
body
they
coaches
absolutely
know
do.
and compliance knows, and compliance doesn't seem to have a vested interest in keeping control over their coaches because they're losing so many coaches that they feel, in my opinion, that they feel that if they give them too many restrictions, they're going to lose even more coaches to maybe MRR, maybe another company, who knows?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it's interesting. So I'm surprised they did not do Summit virtual. Um, they did have some of the sessions were virtual. DC and I have those sessions that were virtual.
Yep.
Um, but I don't know how well attended that was. And the interesting thing, so they always did these super Saturday, Sunday. So they had like super weekend, and you could host it as any coach could say that they wanted to host one. So they were held all over the country for getting together, right?
Yeah.
And they're no longer doing those. They stopped them for this quarterly like leadership training or whatever, but it was only in 6 cities.
Wow.
So if you could not get to one of those cities, like, you're just kind of out of luck. Although I do have the recording. They did put out one virtual thing. Um, and I've got that. That's part of what I was looking at yesterday.
Mm.
Um, Kristen, I don't know how that works as far as, if they get delisted. I don't know what happens, to those who own stock, because I think they have until November, if I remember right, to increase it.
Are we gonna have a party if they get delisted?
We're gonna have such a party. Like,
Yeah.
I it's you bought it at $15 a share?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
tell
Shame
me
on Carl for burning his company down. And it's Carl's fault. It's Carl's
it
fault.
absolutely is.
It's
And
Carl's fault.
and they recommended to the coaches when everything went live to buy stock. Um,
Shame on Carl for doing that.
absolutely. And, Chris and I really can I get a refund? Oh, man, you may be entitled to compensation. Um,
Yep.
that's the part that just sucks is that he has had so much direct control over this.
Yeah.
And now, like, the fixer that they brought in, I don't see that he's fixing anything.
Well, is Carl gonna let him fix stuff? Because we've seen in the past that Carl thinks his marketing and his taglines and his, like, tour de ponce or whatever it is, they are so cool, and they're not, and I'm being sarcastic because you bring in marketers and you bring in special, like, emergency PR people for a reason, because they're the experts in helping fix your company, and I don't think that he will release enough of the control to let someone fix it. I don't.
I don't either, and here's the interesting thing, Carl had to forfeit how many, like, millions of shares of stock? I wanna say, like, 6 million or something in
Oh.
to put up for this man's salary. This man only will get paid if the stock turns around, but Carl had to give his own stock in order to do this.
So, would we say that Carl has lost his fortune-esque because of his own.
It would be really interesting to see how much his value has gone down.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's interesting. So, part of the other thing that they are doing, oh, no, Hannah, they did their last one. I've got it, and one of the things that they are doing is, they are going to expand the offering on Amazon. So, right now, you can purchase Shakeology on Amazon, but they're going to put more of their products on Amazon.
Shame on
Um
them. Shame on them.
Oh, but it's a net positive for the coaches. It's the net
How?
positive. And I
You
was like,
How? We're not.
because okay, I can tell you exactly what he said. Because it drives market awareness.
Yeah, to the bottom line of your company, because you don't have to pay a commission out to a coach or to whatever, the weak leg, strong leg situation. You just get to put the money in your account. And
Now,
that's it.
here's the other thing that they're doing. So, when so they had combined with Mix, right? And they got the craptastic bike, the wobbly wonder. Um, and then they also combined with OpenFit, right?
Yep.
OpenFit had their own line of supplements called Ladder. They're going to be putting those on Amazon as well. They're going to start marketing those supplements.
No.
Uh-huh. And if you watch, any of the videos, the Andrea Rogers program that came out, now I don't remember what it was called. It was last year. But that was the new one, and she had filmed that program while working for OpenFit, and in the background of that program, you can see the Ladder supplements. They're, like, stacked up on the counter behind her.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the stock call was just it was fascinating. Um, definitely so I'm gonna do some on it. God, there's so many things I want to do in so little time. Um, but, like, the Q&A, our favorite person showed up again, which she was amazing.
I love her so much. She is a queen of finance and intelligence and the standard for key. I don't know. She's amazing. I love her so much.
Oh, yeah, I think her name's Linda. Um, so she showed up, she had some great questions. Oh, here, this is interesting. 265 million per Google. I think it used to be 600 million, wasn't it? At one point, I swear 600 million's in my head for some reason.
Holy moly.
So,
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's wild.
yikes. Did I tell you what I'm doing this weekend? Why I had
Tell me.
did I 'cause did I tell you, like, oh, I told you I had to hurry and do a call before I went to pick up my kids,
Yeah.
but then I'm gonna be out until, like, next week because my sister and I are taking my mom to Vegas.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous. Oh my god. You have to go to the casino, the castle one, whatever.
Excalibur.
Our timer once
There's
again, our trusty timer.
There's a 25-cent
Let's move
roulette
forward.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Still got lots and lots and lots of
I will
peeps
play
on
it in your
a
name.
little bit.
Thank you.
Tap that share. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for putting your business first and your family and all the goals that you have set for yourself. I appreciate you. This is why I do what I do. This is why I love being here. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you actually in 2 weeks. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Hope resulted in a share card. Whoop, whoop. Yes, I love it. I love it. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Take care.
Oh my
Bye-bye.
gosh. What a complete and total waste of their time.
I know, and that they're doing it to keep an eye on their team, not necessarily that it's effective help. Like, if it was effective, they would say, like, okay, raise your hand. I'll answer questions about stuff that you're having issues with. Let me let my dog out. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally good. But I think that's the interesting thing. It wasn't like a Q&A. It was like, okay, I have this this PowerPoint that we're going to go through. She didn't really open it up for questions because honestly, I don't think that she would be able to answer the questions. I don't think she could answer how things are going or why things should change. So it's ridiculous. So I can tell you what the schedule is.
Perfect.
So they have 3 hours every day. Monday morning is connections and inviting, or with one person, and then or planning and time blocking with another. Then you have content planning in the next block. So again, there's 3 1-hour blocks per day. Content planning or focused work week and inviting, which seems that's kind of similar to what we just did.
Yeah.
Vitals and retention, or retention or locking in success club. Tuesday, discover, connect, invite, or vitals and effective power hours. Network and connection building. One's with Lori Stewart.
No.
Overcoming objections utilizing the comp plan. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Or income producing activities. Expand, connect, invite, which is the one we just did. The vitals is later this evening. The vitals for growth, invite, follow up, new partner foundations. And I can't, and something else, but I can't see that one. Leticia Dominguez is one of them that hosts that one. Inviting, networking, and connecting, weekly wrap up, vital behaviors with Julie Forrest.
Oh, yeah. She. If you want to get yelled at, listen to Julie. I guess we do want to get yelled at because
right.
She's the one that also says, if you can't look like you're paying attention to me on your camera, you better turn your camera off because it's disrespectful to be doing something else other than listening to me.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, they're even doing it on Sunday. Like
what?
3 hours every day. Every day.
This kind of like 90-day run or something. Like, are they trying to
13 weeks? It apparently started July 3rd and it's running until October 1st. I'm attempting to get on the message that they sent out to their people about it, they said recordings. Leaders don't always record. Basically, depend on them not recording and do your best to show up. They are 3 times a day for the most part and 12 hours in between the first to the last. If a leader records, they may upload the recording here, but I'll tell you more times than not, they do not.
That's probably written by Julie. Julie gets so mad when people are like, is it going to be recorded? And she's like, just because you asked, I'm not going to record it.
Not doing it.
Oh, dear God.
Well, and it's like, and you just have to show up. Well, people have lives. Here's the thing though. And DC, I'm curious to see if you would be the same way, because my neurodivergent people pleasing self would do my best to show up to all 3 of those hours.
Sure.
I would feel guilted into showing up 3 hours a day.
Oh, I would too. When I would get back in. because I would feel like I would be out of alignment with the team. I would feel like I would wanna it because if someone had told me, "If you just show up, you'll be successful. If you just do all the things I tell you to do, it is a proven formula for success." That's what we hear a lot, and
Yep.
so people who are compliant or neurodivergent
Mhm.
or they want to try to be successful, they're gonna be like, "Okay, I can at least be obedient even if I don't have the skills yet. I'm going to show up 3 hours every day for the next 13 weeks and see what happens." And then you realize, oh, maybe you didn't hit that success. And then they say, well, you didn't have the right mindset while you're participating. You didn't give it your full energy. You didn't give it your full positive thinking. And then you're like, okay, that makes total sense, which is why I wasn't successful. Except they didn't say that in the beginning. They just said, show up, do what I tell you, and you'll be successful. And then they say, well, you showed up, but you probably were thinking the wrong thoughts. It's like, they keep moving the goalpost. If you are a sports ball fan, they keep
Yep.
moving and changing the rules because they cannot look at themselves in the mirror and say, it's my fault or it's the compensation model's fault or whatever it is.
Well, because I really think at some point they would have to start evaluating, and then I mean, I know how guilty I felt when I, like, discovered some of these things for the small part that I played, right? I mean, I was a diamond, and I had a lot of customers. Like, I mean, I was recognized, I don't even remember how many years ago, but it came up on my Facebook memories, and so the goal each month was to hit Success Club 5 or 10. And on that particular month, I hit 34 in my business center and 4 in my husband's. So
Wow.
like I was doing all the things, but the amount of guilt that I felt when I realized how awful it was and how much, manipulation I had done, I can't even imagine someone who has been in it for 15 years. I don't know, like, the level of guilt and shame, I think, would be really, really a lot. It'd be a lot.
It is a lot, and it's not just disappointing your upline. You have to live with your family and you look at the financial losses, and it's not just, oh, what if you have an unhealthy relationship with your partner and there's resentfulness there about them taking a chance on you spending a certain amount of money every month to try to grow a business or whatever, and you're telling them just what your upline's telling you, that you're going to be successful, you just have to wait it out, you just have to do this and this, and then you end up having to leave because you're losing so much money, and then you have to deal with the fallout in your relationship because of those financial losses. I'm telling you from personal experience. Not everyone has that experience. I'm telling you my experience that happened, and
Mhm.
10 years later, it is still something that is painful in our relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you sunk cost fallacy and also the reality that these MLMs and financial, like, losses impact sometimes for a long period of time.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely does, and I mean, and so, for me, I was feeling guilty all the way around, right? I'm feeling guilty that I failed my upline. I'm feeling guilty that I failed all my customers. I'm feeling guilty that I personally wasn't able to sustain, being proof the product works. I was feeling guilty about the money I spent and the promises that I had made to my husband about how amazing everything was going to be.
Yeah.
And, like, the guilt in every facet of my life at that point. And
Yeah.
then facing, like, "Oh my gosh, I did a lot of damage to my own body with the behaviors. Did I hurt anyone else? Like, did anybody else get hurt because they did some of the things that either I was saying to do or that they saw me doing?" Um, and I think that's one of the reasons that, my crying video that kind of introduced us, so I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that crying video, but, like, I was crying, like, I am so sorry to anyone else that I hurt, that, like, because the guilt is just so overwhelming, and I think the nice part, though, with that one is that, and it kind of did make me feel a little bit better, that I did have integrity in
Yeah.
the way that I was trying to do it, because so many people reached out to me and they were like, "Amy, you helped me. You like, no, you did this for the right reason." Um,
Yeah.
and and you just got caught up in something that was damaging. Um, but how many people are feeling those same things, but they're also feeling stuck? Like Hannah said, like they can't, it's clearly sinking. Some of the top leaders or legs of leaders have left. Um, I mean, like Lindsay Matway lost some, Melanie Mitro has lost quite a few. Oh, there was one that was just terminated.
Oh, for the, for
Melaleuca.
selling another, company's product?
Yep, she was also in Melaleuca.
Oh, shoot.
And here, let me see, I'll tell you what she said in her message on her Facebook, which is really kind of funny.
I love how they're like, "I'm not cross recruiting. I'm gonna have integrity. I've been terminated from my company." Like you're literally sending out a flare for everybody that, yeah, you left your company and they're gonna keep watching to see what company that you join.
Yep.
Like we know what you're doing.
Okay, so here's what she said in her Instagram. Today, my body accounts were canceled after 7+ years of work. I knew it was a possibility someone would report me to compliance, and it was a risk we were willing to take because we believe so wholeheartedly in where God was calling us.
God's calling you to break the rules. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, God's like, please screw this company over. Um, Thousands of customers and hundreds of partners found out at the same time as me via email. And truly, that part sucked. But also, it's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and we have total peace in what happens next. She was a very large line under Allie Upham.
Oh shoot. Allie's gonna be so mad.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm going to see if I'm blocked by her. Because I'm just curious. Oh, dang it, she has me blocked. Jerk.
You can go to iganony.com and you can see them what they're
Yeah.
up to if you need to.
I want to say she's doing Melaleuca now.
Melaleuca is so wild. It's like every product that you could think of on the planet. It's like the Wish version of Amway, except Amway's a Wish version too because it's awful. So
That's hilarious. They were doing the whole Noah route. They're doing 2x2. So make sure you do your MLMs 2x2. Doing two at the same time. Oh, well, I it's I have so many things. So I was going to go live tonight, but then I was like, no, I need to not go live and spend time with my husband. But I need to talk at some point. I think I'm going to do a life coach Q&A with someone who is a life coach.
that's awesome.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. And I was thinking about it today. So do you listen to the podcast Sounds Like a Cult?
No, but that sounds like something I would love to listen to.
Okay, so it sounds like a cult. Amanda Montell, and she has been in a lot of them. She talks a lot about linguistics,
Ooh.
and I'm trying to think the book that she did that I read, and it was so good. But she has a whole section in there about MLMs specifically. And so in her podcast, today's was the cult of life coaches. And and so it's The Language of Fanaticism, Cultish is the book. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Rosie put it up at the same time. And she has a couple others. She's got one that is Word Slut, A Feminist Guide to Taking Back the English Language. That may be next on my list. But as I was listening to that this morning, because the Dream podcast is up next on my playlist, I think. I was like, okay, so why is it, like, what drew me to life coaching? And I think it was because truly the reason that I had joined an MLM was that I really did want to help people. I really did want to be able to make a difference in someone, and so I'm like, "Well, if I can't do it in MLM, maybe I can do it over here,
Yep.
and this would give me an opportunity." And honestly, the people that were, like, my practice coachings, they were like, "No, you really did help me." And I was like, "Okay, but I can't go back. I can't help you work through things in your past that are probably what is going to be impacting your future or what is impacting you now."
Yeah.
And so it gets so twisty.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, like, there's some times where it could be an alignment of the stars, so to speak, where you end up someone asks for help and you can help them without messing them up.
Yeah.
Because and then it's like and I think Amy, because you're such an ethical person, I think that you're able to say like, "Okay, if I'm in this lane, is this lane going to take out other cars because of my lack of training or lack of licensure or whatever it is?" And it's like, okay, so I can then not continue in this lane any further, even though I haven't done damage to the people I've already helped. And
Yep.
so I think that's the twisty part, like just what you said with the self-help coaching industry, is because you can really mess up people and you can mess up their like brain, because trauma plays into sometimes like where you are and how you see yourself and how you relate with the world, and who should be dealing with that, a licensed clinician who specializes in trauma.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people like Ashley Molstad are, uh, going against traffic and potentially, like, taking out other drivers, and they're so not aware of the rules of the road. I'm, like, in a way confusing metaphor right now, but, like, that she is, in my opinion, doing harm to other people, but she thinks that she is going the right direction and that
Mhm.
everybody else is going the wrong direction, and that all of the I don't know, the damage that's in her wake isn't her responsibility, even though it's her fault.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Well, and it's interesting because I think part of it was, yeah, don't say like you were mixing your metaphors. It was totally coherent.
okay.
Um, I think a lot of it too is company you get certified through,
Yeah.
because the company that I went through is recognized through ICF, um, which is like the International Coach Foundation. So the one that I went to is recognized by them, and they have a lot of accreditations all over the world. Okay. So that's one of the reasons that I chose this specific class.
Yeah.
But going to the life coach school from, what's her name? The one that Ashley went to, Brooke
Oh,
Castillo.
yeah, yeah.
Brooke Castillo's life coach school, where Brooke has 0 qualifications and her program is not accredited through anything. Anybody can say that they have a life coach school. Josh Coates is certifying life coaches, and his only claim to fame is that he trained under John Maxwell, and
Oh,
he's an MLM coach, but now he's certifying life coaches. And it's like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, stop.
well,
Stop, stop."
the really twisty thing about John Maxwell is, because he's so famous in his circles, he's written so many books, he's so convincing when he's on stage. I think that when people get certified through him, they think they're doing something special. They think that they're getting more certified, becoming more of an expert than they really are, because he has so much charisma and he's so convincing and he's a good storyteller. And
Yep,
so then people are like, almost certified through the John Maxwell PhD fluffery, like with Monet. And it's
yep.
like, no, no,
That's
no,
not a thing.
no, no,
Not
no,
a thing.
not a thing. I mean, it's a thing, like, you can put a price on anything and convince people to pay any amount to do it. That doesn't mean that the training that you're getting is actually at I don't know, built to any standard of training in the, in, like, the United States here. There are boards that keep people in check. like
Yeah.
psychiatrists, psychologists, licensed clinicians, etc. And
Yeah.
when you're a John Maxwell graduate, who's keeping you in check? No one.
No one. No one. And and I will so for me, my certification got a little bit twisty for me because it's a dual health coach and life coach. So along with the life coach certification, I was certified in 2 sorry, do I have 2 different, like, weight loss plans that I was certified in as well.
Mhm.
And so then that kind of caused some issues because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, no." Now it brought the weight loss component and the weight back into it like body had, and it was like, "Okay, I've gotta be super careful with this." Um, and I will say for me, like, life coach school helped get me through a really difficult time. It was interesting because I had just decided that I needed to do this, because I was trying to find something and I had done a lot of research into different things, and I signed up to do this in February of 2020.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
then, like, when everything broke, like, not only, like, worldwide, but, like, my family was just in complete and total chaos in 2020.
Yeah.
It helped me process, and so I told my husband, "Even if I spent this money to get this certification just so that I was able to make it through all of this, it was worth it, but I still wanna help people." Like, it still didn't I was like, "Dang it." Like, that and honestly, what I should have done, and I was thinking about it, like, listening to Amanda Montell today, I should have combined the life coach certification with the 15 years I have in human resources and taught and, like, I could have gone that way, and I would have felt like I was a competent expert
Yeah.
in that field. Um, but it wasn't necessarily the lane I wanted to be in.
For sure. And I think I mean, that's a powerful thing because I think that the one of the really cool things in the power that a human resource, brings to any company is the ability to help mitigate interpersonal work relationships in the workplace and help, define and keep people thriving in the structure and the bounds that the company has set up. And that's really great. And you're really great at that. You're really great at communication. You're really great at bringing clarity and calmness to really messed up situations. Like, I mean, you're the reason that I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not alone in this," like, leaving like, the way you articulate stuff, and I it was so good, and it was so, like it felt like salve to, like, a very sore, like, heart because losing your friends and losing your community because you left your MLM, it was like, "Oh my god, I'm alone," and then you're not alone, and so, like, you're really good at lots of that stuff, and then you also it's so cool that you are ethical and said, like, "Could I get into a twisty area? Could I get into trouble going this route? Yes, so I'm not going to." We don't see that with other people in the coaching industry. They're like, "Yep, well, if they get hurt, it's their own fault because, they misinterpreted what I said." "What? What do you mean?"
I mean, I think the one that I was like, "I really do need to talk about life coaching more." I had downloaded or someone sent me, I think, Ashley had done a few reels, um, talking about the fact that there's no such thing as a negative situation, it's just how you view it. And I was like, it was the it was so what she was saying was so damaging.
Yep.
And I started thinking of some of the situations that I've had to deal with in my life, and by no means are they, like, the worst things that I can imagine. They were very negative situations.
Yeah.
It wasn't how I was viewing it. My parents getting divorced,
Yep.
that was a very negative situation. It had nothing to do with how I viewed it. Like, can some positives come out of that negative situation? Sure. But to say that there is no such thing as a negative or
Yeah.
positive situation, it's all your mindset, no, that's not true. That's not true.
It's not true, and it's so and the people who put Ashley Molstad on a pedestal, and then they're going to listen to her on her podcast say like, "Oh, it's all your perspective." You know, like, well, as a kid when bad stuff is happening to you, it like M, it's like, "No, no, no. There's actual, like, evil people in the world who do awful things to people who have no autonomy over they who should have autonomy over their body, and, like, that's the reality of it. It's not just your perception, and the fact that she said that was so
It's
wrong. It was
it's so damaging, especially if you have someone who is processing a trauma, um, that then to tell them that that was not a negative event, that was not a traumatic event, and it's putting the blame on them
Yes.
for how they're viewing it,
Yep.
the amount of victim blaming in that, I was like, "No, no. No, no." Like, that is it's not I think and I think so part of that to me when she was talking about that, I'm like, "See, this is validating my decision to not get into the life coach, like, realm because I cannot, even imagine this." And yes, and then the fact let me go up to this. The fact that she discusses it on her Instagram, and I really wondered, like, does she ask them if she can talk about these things? Maybe she does, but then you say that disclaimer. You know, I have gotten permission to share this with no identifying information, but I have a client who XYZ, she doesn't say names, but she also like some of the things she shares, I'm like, I would not want someone to share that about me.
Yeah.
And and it really is more of a therapist viewpoint on things. Like she goes back into their childhood. And as a life coach, you are not to go back. You are only to go forward.
Yeah, and again, you were taught when we talk about these high control groups, you can all high control groups can also be a one-on-one relationship, and I'm just wondering with a life coach client relationship, is the power balance because you're dealing with someone who's a huge influencer as well, is the power balance so out of balance that do the clients feel like they could say no to her asking, "Hey, can I share your story?" Some
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
some people feel confident enough to say yes, and maybe some people say like, "Well, if I say no, am I gonna get the same kind of good coaching that I'm getting right now, or is she gonna feel resentful of me saying no?" Like, that has to be taken into account, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it does. I mean, it just, uh, it's ridiculous. I keep watching you like your hair. I
Sorry.
love your hair.
I slept in those little, like, I don't know, like, have you seen them? You shove, like, a crochet hooky thing up in it, and you pull your hair through it when it's wet and you sleep on it.
Uh-huh.
That's what happened. I'm letting it
I'm jealous.
go out before I brush it fully.
So someone mentioned, I think in your live that you were doing that they had ordered a beach waiver. Mine should get here today.
Oh my god, let me know if you love it.
I need to start. So I here's my problem. Now we're just kind of talking. Sorry to the live chat because DC and I get we need this.
We're just shooting it. We're just talking about anything.
So when I especially with my fourth baby, I would get up during the night to nurse, which I didn't love. I didn't love nursing. I didn't like the whole thing, but I would turn on infomercials and I
Mhm.
would just like the next morning, I would kind of have vague memories of maybe ordering something and then it would just show up in the mail. My husband's like, "Amy, we cannot afford for you to continue nursing because you're ordering the weirdest crap."
I can't
So
help it. It's so like, I'm the same way. I'm like, "What?"
so I think I need to start doing some reels where I'm like, "Okay, here is the weird stuff that I purchased on online. None of it's sponsored, and I'm just gonna give you some honest reviews
I
because
I know, like, bring a drink and, just literally live stream it. You need to do membership so we can do it on your, like, pay I don't know. I feel like we can do memberships on your channel and then just like hang out and members only and like watch you do your hair and watch you, use products and watch you do all this stuff. I don't know.
I mean, even if we wanted, I guess I could break out my saint makeup and do a full face.
Yes. Oh my god, we should do that. And I should watch you. I'm inviting myself to this stream. Amy does Saint. Oh, yes, that can be it. Amy does Saint. Amy does Beach Waver. Amy does like whatever. It's like as seen on TV
Oh my
in Amy's
god.
house. As seen on Amy. Yeah,
And
as seen on
here's
Amy, but it's the same logo as seen on TV. And I will change. I'm making you a logo right now. I'm making you a logo right now so we can do this. Oh my god.
the only thing is my husband would probably beg and plead that you not send me ideas of products to
Too
buy.
It's too late, Santa. It's too
Too
late.
late.
I'm invested, okay? I'm gonna be sending Amy so many things. You're gonna hate me. You're gonna tell me I can't be friends with Amy anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
It
god.
it is so funny.
As seen
Like,
by Amy. Oh my god. I'm making the logo right now, Rosie Posey. I'm gonna make the logo right meow. Oh my god, I love this so much.
oh my gosh. It's so funny. Are you sure? I will suffer with the Saint products for you guys. Here's the thing, I did actually like them for a long period of time, and
Sure.
then I started realizing, like, "Wait a minute, this is super cakey. Wait a minute, this is, like, really thick. And so, yeah, it's but I again, though, here's the hard part, you guys. I have friends that sell it.
I thought
Like, it's such a it's such a mind game when you know people
yes.
and love people who are in these, then I'm like, "Can I really talk about that?"
Yeah. I mean, I still have people that I don't talk to anymore, but are still in Young Living, and it makes it hard to talk about Young Living. So I get it. I get it.
'Cause guess what?
What?
Like, a few houses down is, one of the VPs of Melaleuca.
Amy, why are we not doing Melaleuca all the time? Do they know you have a YouTube channel? Hello. If you are Amy's
Probably.
channel, we should do
Um, he's also in my, church congregation. So
Amy! Oh my god.
DC, here's the thing, I'm just telling you, you would be shocked at some of the things we could do.
I'm going to visit Amy, and I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna be
Well,
that creepy whole I know Hannah's like, "What?"
okay,
Oh
wait,
my god.
Hannah, can your heart handle one more bombshell?
Yes.
'Cause I've got a good one.
I'm gonna speak for Hannah because I wanna hear it. I'm so nosy, I can't even help it.
Do you wanna know who I used to babysit for?
Yes?
Chad and Tammy Daybell.
Amy! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
And guess what?
What?
I was best friends with his sister, so I was at his house all the time.
Amy! Oh my god! If there was literally no other plan other than for you to get into an MLM, you couldn't have helped it.
Yeah.
Oh my Lanta!
Tammy was, one of my church leaders, so for a while.
Oh my god, Amy!
Yeah. So when, like, everything started going down, I was like, "Wait, Tammy's dead? Wait, what? Like, what is happening?"
Wow!
It is just it was wild. It was wild, and I do want to say this, I absolutely adore his family. Like, his parents, Chad Daybell's parents, his sister, his, brothers, like, they are amazing people, and I'm still friends with a sister-in-law and sister. So, like, it just right? So, like, I'm just telling you, I got some wild ties. Who is that? You don't know who Chad Daybell is? Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow Daybell, they killed Chad's wife and her 2 children. They're on trial currently. Well, she's already been convicted.
Yeah.
His trial starts, I think in a few months. So
How have we never done a law stream together? I'm inviting myself to, like, would that be too tough for you to talk about?
it'll get interesting, but I think no, I mean, I'm down to talk about it. Um,
God, can I invite myself to your
yeah,
stream?
maybe you should take some questions and you can, like, write some questions down.
Oh my god.
Um,
Yes.
because and yes, it is the people who went to Hawaii, and it is twisty. It is twisty. Um, okay, so and this is something I have not talked about. Okay, so someone asked, "Wait, are you LDS, Amy?" Yes, I have been raised Mormon. I would say I have a very, conflicted relationship currently
Mm.
with that.
Because you're very
Nuanced.
accepting, progressive, nuanced. It I think it's interesting because you're such an ethical I'm not saying that you can't be ethical because you're Mormon, I'm just saying you have such an inclusive because of who your children are, you have just such an incredible, like, moral compass that seems to conflict with some of the things that we've seen with some
Yeah.
people recently who are,
Well,
associated with the church,
that's why when, like, my husband and I, whenever, like, the Ruby Frank thing or the Chad Daybell thing, it's like, why are these people coming forward? And then people think that everybody is that way.
Yeah.
Isn't the case. Um, and so it just is it's so yeah, it's hard. My husband and I had a whole conversation about it last night because 'cause I'm like, it is a really difficult place to be in, um, and to negotiate with, right? And I would say it kind of like, for us, it kind of blew up a bit
Sure.
when my children came out. And then it was like, "Hold on," and you have to start then evaluating everything.
Yeah.
Um, and it's quite the process. And there are I mean, it's interesting, and I think it's true, like, um, with any religion, you're
Mm.
going to have people who are, like, zealot. You're gonna have people who are progressive and accepting and loving, and it's just where you fall on the spectrum, and it's not always gonna be in the same place.
Yeah, and I think for me, because I'm nosy as hell, and I was just like, there's some things like terminology I was learning about because I was watching on Danielle Ryan's stream some of the videos from Jody Hildebrandt's Facebook page, the connections ones, and they were talking about um the D word. I don't remember what it was, but they were talking distortion. They were talking about distortion and stuff, and like if you're not in the Mormon sphere, you don't know what that means. And when she's talking about true and truth, like, you don't know what that means. And so maybe it doesn't flag as much. So it's like, it would be cool if you maybe were open to it to be able to come from a place of how incredibly inclusive you are, but you also have all the background knowledge and you're also different than, let's say, Mormon Stories podcast,
Yeah.
where they're figuring out life too, but it's a little bit differently because you're still Mormon and
Mhm.
they're not. So it'd just be
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny because last night I, had talked to my husband, and I was like, I've talked about being Christian, but I haven't talked about my specific denomination."
yeah,
And he's like, "Why not?" And I said, "Because it's confusing, and it's hard to like, faith is such a personal thing,
yeah,
and then when, like, the world has very valid set of beliefs about what you believe, because of all of the wonky news that ends up happening, and it's like,
yeah.
"Gal, I need to," he's like, "You know that at some point you're gonna have to talk about it, right? Because the Mormon MLM crossover is wild." And I
It
was like,
is
"Yeah, it is."
Young Living, doTERRA, uh, LuLaRoe,
Yep.
um, I know there's
So,
a
my mom lives in Utah County, and driving to her house, I see Unique, doTERRA, Young Living, what's the Truvy? True There's Truvy, I think.
Yep.
Um, the Trinont, uh,
Q
where else?
Sciences.
Q
Too.
Sciences. Melaleuca is here
Wow.
where I am, and so, like, it's so it gets so confusing,
Yeah.
um, and Elaine, 99% of MLM are Mormon run, I have no evidence. Um, I don't know if it's 99%, but I'm just saying it's huge, and there are some really good reasons, in my opinion, that that is the case.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I have a crying child in at school.
Oh.
Okay, um, so one of the things like, I don't know, how long do you wanna talk?
Well, I have to go to a doctor's appointment at 3, so, I would love to either talk for a little bit and then
Okay.
continue the conversation. I just think it's so interesting to have you obviously, like, I'm questioning a lot of stuff. I'm not Mormon, but, like, I feel like I have such a diverse on my channel, like, group of people. We've got non-believers, we've got agnostics, we've got people like a whole group like a whole varied group of people, and I think because you are in such an interesting position with you being a Mormon and inclusive and you're had such a like strong reaction from your community by y'all supporting your children. I think it's just an interesting mix of being able to talk about some things with empathy and that's not like cookie cutter answers about stuff. I just think it could be like an interesting, you know,
Yeah, well,
deal.
and so much of it is also how you were raised and the family with which you were raised, I think, within the church,
Yeah.
because so my dad was the first person in his family, um, to be baptized, and his parents were very anti-Mormon, um, which was kind of interesting growing up. My grandparents, on my mom's side were not active, um, and then I was kind of in and out of activity when I was young,
Yeah.
but then started going back more consistently, and but most of my extended family is not
Mm,
Mormon, and so I think that helped me, um, be more nuanced, I think,
yeah.
because, I grew up that way. I grew up in a nuanced environment, um, and so I think that that was very helpful, but a lot of those around me did not, and it is very much a high demand religion.
Yeah.
Um, so
Can I ask you a personal question? And if you can't answer it, I totally understand.
yeah.
Because of sometimes the rage against religious manipulation in the anti-MLM community, were you nervous about um talking about the religious part of like your religious practice or your beliefs?
Yes. I mean, I think very much so, because I think part of it is that and I still am, like, wow, where do I stand? Um, and processing so many different things that it's like, I don't know if I am ready to even talk about that. So, I mean, I've talked a little bit about some spirituality stuff,
Yeah.
um, and religious manipulation,
Yep.
but not to a very large extent, right? Like, I
Mhm.
haven't got into Ray Higdon or some of these that are just wild, because it was also like, can I handle it?
Yeah.
Like, I have to protect my peace.
Yep.
Um, and, and it sometimes there's very much like, yes, I'm at peace with it, and other times I'm like, "Oh my gosh, everything's a mess."
Yeah.
Uh, and, so then when things come up, like, like, let's say Chad Daybell, and people talk about his beliefs, those are not mainstream Mormon beliefs. But because he was Mormon, like, it gets the view like, okay, well, then people believe this, and it's like, "Duh, no, no."
Yeah.
Even Chad's family doesn't believe this. Like, this isn't normal doctrine. But there's also some I mean, then you also have to process, well, then what doctrine, um, do you believe in,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
I think so one of the questions that I have had lately, um, and that my husband and I have talked pretty consistently about is, what is the doctrine,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
What is the doctrine versus the policy or the practice?
Yeah.
Because those differ greatly. And with most churches, what I am finding is it is very difficult to get down to the doctrine
Yeah.
because you just get into, well, this is what we do,
Mm.
or this is the policy. And it's like, okay, but how do I evaluate if I believe in this if I don't know what you're saying the beliefs are? And
Yeah.
it gets very confusing on like culture,
Mm.
which can also be very interesting. Um, and I think I was lucky with some of the people that I grew up with and leaders that I grew up with, I think, um, that they were more, like, nuanced.
Yeah. That's
Um,
cool. I mean, I'd love
so
to, like I think the live chat is interested as well to
yeah.
hear what you think, and I also get, like I don't know what I believe anymore, and I guess that's kind of wishy-washy of me to say. It's just when you are unlearning stuff and then you're separating yourself from some of the stuff in MLM because it was so closely tied with
Mm,
your calling, and calling meaning what Jesus has called you to, and so many people that I was in Young Living with thought that Jesus had called them to this, and so you're separating that out, and then it's like, well, I'm not sure what I believe, but it's interesting to have conversations like this with Amy, who we can have empathetic, diverse, nuanced, discussions about difficult topics. And yeah, it is hard. Like listening to Ray Higdon twist, in my opinion, religion for financial gain is twisty and it's hard to like sit through, especially after leaving MLM. You get all those emotions back of like, oh my God, I'm not stuck. I'm not stuck here anymore, but you still kind of experience the same things.
yeah, and I think Hannah's exactly right. It's, most of us find ourselves in there is like, "Wait a minute, what do I believe?" And there are some things that like, there's some beliefs that are held so deeply down that, like, I didn't even know it was there.
Yep.
Until you start deconstructing things and you're like, "Wait a minute." Um, and it gets fascinating, and then it gets to the point, and I don't know how you feel, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't talk to anybody about this."
Yeah. It feels scary. It feels like
It's scary.
yeah, and uh, I'm still scared to talk about it on my channel, and I'm also scared to rage against religious manipulation and not make people who are um, ethical people who have integrity in the chat not feel comfortable to feel like they can still communicate in the live chat because I don't want to like I want to be able to rage against behaviors and not participate in the logical fallacy of saying, "Oh, this person who did a bad thing was wearing a red shirt, so if you like to wear red shirts, then you're a bad person." You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying that as a generic thing, but the same thing like, "Oh, this person who's doing this really bad stuff is a Christian, and so therefore all Christians are bad." Now, if there are, high demand things that are at scale, having people do bad things, that then we can talk about that type of stuff, but it's I think it's supposed to be a nuanced,
Yeah.
delicate, diverse conversation where we can all talk about it, and I wanna do it in a way where it doesn't alienate people who do who maybe haven't felt safe about asking questions before.
Well, and it's so funny that all this is coming up today because my husband and I had a conversation for hours about it last night. Um, because like Ashley said, like you feel that there's not a safe place to address it, but you have so many things that you really have to talk about,
Yeah.
um, and to find someone who understands. And even if they're not in the same religion, but they're going through something similar, like in some deconstruction, and I think and I'm going to say, I think for a lot of, I can speak for um, LDS people in particular. It appears that a lot of us have scrupulosity because of how demanding the religion is.
Hmm.
And so then you have to overcome that. The like, oh my gosh, I can't speak out against this because this is wrong. I shouldn't be having these feelings. This is wrong. Um, and like, there are so many things that have been so deeply built into me that like my husband, my husband, bless his heart, I don't think he knew the amount um of therapy that I was going to need coming up. But because he's like, well, then if that doesn't align with what you feel, then don't do that. And I was like, wait, that's an option? That's an option to not believe everything? Like, I am very much an all or nothing.
Same.
And so, like, a lot of people, especially within Mormonism, call it, like, cafeteria Mormon or buffet Mormon. Like, you go and you take what works for you and leave the rest behind. And I'm like, "Well, how do you do that? How," like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so trying to learn that, and I think that's a lot of Christian religions, it's like, "Wait, a lot of these things do align with what I want in my life, but a
Mhm.
lot of things don't. And so how do I walk that line?"
Yeah. And I don't know the right way to deconstruct. I think the one thing I've come to, like, figure out or been okay with saying because it helps me make better decisions right now is to remember the humanity in myself and remember the humanity in others, because for the things that bump up against stuff that I was taught growing up, remembering that first helps me say, okay, I'm setting that aside right now because people matter, and and helping them feel human and accepted and loved and welcomed is to me more important than shunning and excluding and all the other shit. Oh,
Yep.
sorry, Amy's channel.
Yeah, you can swear. My language has been getting worse. As things get more, twisty, um, it's yeah, well, I mean, even that, my my daughter asked me the other day, she's like, "Okay, how do I define a good word and a bad word? And, like, what words don't we say?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I can't tell her this because I say some of those words." Like, and then it's like, "Wait, we assign value to the words. No word is like," it just it g
Yeah,
right, and it's like, "Wait, is this because this is how I truly feel, or is this because this is what I was taught?" And you're having to look at it through a lens that you never have before. Um,
and
and
for me yeah, like, for me with profanity or whatever, like, I know some people aren't about it, so I try to warn them beforehand. My thing is, I try not to call people names in general, and so I wouldn't call someone a B, or I wouldn't call well, sometimes I call Ray Higdon an a-hole, but, I try not to, but,
yeah,
I try to be like, "This situation is fluffery," but enter
mhm,
the F word, and so, instead of saying 'cause I think that goes against rule number 1, remembering the humanity in others and remembering the humanity in myself, and am I going to lose my humanity by what I'm saying on the internet or how I'm treating people? And if I am, then I don't wanna do that. That's, like, where I'm
yeah.
kind of at. That's where my, like, wishy-washiness.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I do think it has helped for me more with spirituality versus religion, because I would say that some people, would say, like, as far as a testimony that people had said that they felt like my husband and I were losing our testimony, when in actuality, we were getting even closer to God and spirituality, but maybe not in the way that they thought it should look.
Yeah.
And so I think that is the other hard part, right? Is that people have these preconceived notions of this is what it looks like. And if you don't look like this, then you don't belong. And you'll find, I mean, there's a whole community of people who are more nuanced.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding that. Maybe we should start with just doing a members only stream on
I
your
would
channel.
love that. But are you gonna do members? Like, are you?
No, I at some point I probably need to do memberships, but I feel bad because I don't want to have to like I don't know if I can commit to a specific like doing so much content or doing whatever because things are so up in the air
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, and we can even talk like we can get into the last 3 years for us have been like mind-blowing, the things that have happened in the last 3 years, and
Yeah.
really that's kind of what started the whole process. I mean, honestly.
I mean,
Um,
and we could, and I know not everyone on your channel is members on my channel, but uh, we could even do it for one of like all tiers or a little bit higher tiers just to make it a safer spot. Like I've been doing that with harder conversations because sometimes it's better to have a small group. So we
yeah,
could do something like that for sure.
yeah. Um,
And I think like some people like would love to support you financially even if
yeah,
you aren't able to put out content because they love the work that you do. And I know that's hard to process because you're a value. Like you don't want people to be giving you something and you not giving them something back that's equal or more than
yeah,
what that's the way that you seem to me. But I also know from what people have told me is there's some people who just want to be able to say, I appreciate your content and I want to support what you're doing.
yeah.
And, even the Grumpy Floof picture would be cool in members only, like or Grover, you know?
I'm just gonna say I haven't really shared my floofs a ton on my channel, but I have some epic floofs, you
Yeah,
guys.
she does, and the fact that her cat will make the perfect Carl Deichler meme any day of the week, it's so good.
My cat's
No.
before and after picture is amazing. That's all I'm saying. She my Smokey has the best before and after that you've ever seen.
It's so good, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think because, a lot of the OCD tendencies that I have to work through
Yeah,
feel like, okay, it's not enough, and so you have to give more or do more or whatever, but maybe I will do, like, members only and then do, like, "Okay, this is where we're gonna deconstruct stuff."
yeah.
Like, let's talk about it. I do find it more helpful, though, to have you with me because you can ask me questions that I wouldn't necessarily think of
Oh, yeah,
or,
I
like,
love that.
things that you're curious about. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I can say is that I'm very open to, like, I
Yeah.
will answer questions.
Yeah, and I'm nosy as heck, so I would love, I love asking questions, and you know what the cool thing would be? We could even, some of my members, we could set up the audio channel where they could ask, like, if they wanted to ask, like, audio questions, we could play it on the members only, and you could answer them too if you wanna do that. If we wanna make it more like a radio station, members only situation,
Oh
so
my gosh, I totally would. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, it's just funny that all this is coming out today because my husband and I were talking about this last night, like for hours. He's like, "Well, you have to figure out how you want to talk about it and when you want to talk about it because it really is difficult to process and then to process in such a public forum is scary." Um, but part of the reason that we have been so really vocal, I guess, is because I want to also help people feel like they're not alone, right? It's why I started talking out about MLM
Yeah.
And so my husband's like, "Well, isn't it kind of in the same sphere?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of, but it's still a lot more fresh than MLM." Um, but, if I can help someone like Ashley was saying, if I could help someone not feel alone, that would be my goal. Um,
Yeah. Let me make a form real quick, and so if people want to be able to participate in it, if it's gonna be on my page, if it's gonna be members only on my page, we can
yeah,
also make it unlisted, and so if there's people who can't afford it, if you're okay with that, we
yeah,
can,
absolutely.
we can send them the link maybe, just so that not everyone would be there, but you can fill out the form real quick. So let me just do
Yeah,
that, a Google form and go to forms. I'm gonna make one, and it's gonna be Amy deconstructing live,
yeah,
and then just put. You can just do a short answer and put that you want the link, and we can send it to you. So
yeah.
um
Yeah, so here's the other fascinating thing as you talk like deconstruction. Within my sibling group, I have everything, so I'm the youngest of 5. I have everything from I don't know if I guess you would call it leadership, right? High leadership. I would say high leadership because I've also held leadership callings, but high leadership callings to an atheist,
mm,
my siblings. Um, and so that has been a really interesting process too, seeing like from extreme, I would say we have some extreme orthodox to nuanced in the middle with me and one other sibling. And then I have one sibling who's an atheist.
wow. Oh,
And
wait, I can't send a link because I'm not a mod. Can you make me a mod on your channel real quick? Sorry.
how do I make you a mod?
Go to, the stream itself, like YouTube, and go to the video. You can click on my name, and you can make me a mod.
Okay.
The stream itself,
Oh,
like
you can hear that I'm doing this on
I
my.
hate the sound of my voice.
I know, I always hate mine too.
I'm on YouTube, and I hate listening to myself.
Right? Okay, I made you
Oh,
a
cool.
managing moderator.
Mm,
Um,
here we go.
but yeah, I think for me, um, do we all get along or um, you know, that's a very difficult question to answer. It depends on the event. I will say we do not get all together that often,
Mm,
um, because there have been issues in the past where it turned into like WWE SmackDown
yeah,
at a family event, but we do pretty well now to at least get along on surface level at events, especially for my mom. Um, but and I would say that the two of us who are in the middle, kind of more on the nuanced scale, we can get along with both sides, but it's the two extreme sides that struggle with each other more.
yeah. I just texted you the link. I put it in the chat. I hate to peace out at this good part of the conversation, but I've got to go to another doctor's appointment. So I
Okay,
appreciate you letting me join.
anytime and message me and we'll figure some stuff out.
Cool. That sounds good. And if y'all see the form, leave your email so we can send you an unlisted link to the live because we're probably gonna turn it to members only and we don't want to exclude anybody. So
Yeah.
put your email in there and we promise not to spam you. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just answer a couple more questions.
cool.
So
Bye.
goodbye, my friend. Good luck.
Goodbye.
My family gets interesting, both religion and politics, I would say. It gets into it in both because I feel as if there is a pretty big overlap with religion and politics. Um, and part of that definitely comes from the Mormon religion. Um, in that, traditionally it is a very, very conservative, um, but I'm finding that, everyone has their own definition of everything. So you know, it gets interesting. Are there any other like questions I can answer real quick? I don't have to go pick up my kids. I have to pick up all of my children today, all at different schools. Like you guys are getting me today running around all over the place. But thank you so much, Rosie Posey. I am grateful that I have been able to meet such amazing people who have helped in this process during this time. Yes, the politics in the Christian religions right now really frustrate me, especially when I have children who are in the LGBTQ community, and I feel like they are attacked. And that is a very difficult space to be in as a parent. And it has had me questioning a lot of things that I always just took as true. So that gets interesting too. And it is gross. And it's like I don't want to feel scared for my children. And right now I feel scared for my children in a lot of situations. It's one of the reasons that, believe it or not, well, let's do a quick poll. Which states what state do you think is like the most conservative? Are there like is there like if you guys think conservative states, especially politically or whatever, what are you gonna say? Right? Um call Texas. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. It's interesting. So Texas, Alabama, Utah, I'm sure Florida should be up there somewhere. Utah, um, Florida. I know. And we're taking my 18-year-old to Disney World for a senior trip. And I'm like, do we really want to go to Florida? And this is my child who is non-binary. And I'm like, Florida doesn't feel safe, but if that's where you want to go, okay. So it's interesting. A lot of people are saying, Texas, Florida. I think we all were like, yes, that one's there. A lot of people are saying Utah. And here's the deal. We currently live in Idaho, and Idaho is a lot more conservative than Utah. And I wouldn't have thought that initially, but Idaho does things very much that fly under the radar. And Indiana, Georgia. Yeah. It was interesting when my husband and I went to vote, and for the legislature, a lot of them, there were no options. You had one person running and they were all Republicans. And I am not saying that Republicans are bad, because I really kind of vacillate depending on the issue on how I feel. But in my opinion, having an echo chamber where everybody is thinking the same, voting the same, is very dangerous. And that is one of the reasons that we're like, man, we need to move. And then, interest rates are ridiculous. And so it's like, because I would say we are very, we have a lot of advantages in that my husband does work from home and we can live anywhere. Utah is ahead of Idaho in many things. And again, having LGBTQ kiddos, it's scary. Many of my two that are out, they have moved. They actually moved to Utah, but I still have 3 at home who are very passionate about protecting their siblings, and it is hard. It is hard to manage that here. And it depends on the issue. Yeah. I mean, there's so many aspects of it. No Democrats. Yeah. I was like, God, it's sad to me when there is not a variety. of candidates and perspectives. And I think that's where you get some very damaging legislation that happens. And there are deeply conservative pockets in every place. I think for me, it was wild coming to Idaho from Seattle because we lived in the Seattle area. And I mean, it was very progressive. And then we move here and we're like, whoa, we don't fit in here. It's hard. It's hard. So, um, let me know what you guys think. Should I haven't oh my gosh, the culture shift from Seattle to Idaho was really hard on my kids. It was really, really hard on my kids. Um, but like DC was saying, I guess I'll have to do some thinking. Maybe I'll do some thinking while I'm in Las Vegas over the weekend on if, if I should do maybe some maybe I should do some maybe do a membership and then keep some of these conversations there because it is hard. It's very real and raw and um trying to decide, how much can I share? How much is safe to share? How much do people even care? Do people even care about this? Are they interested in this? Um but I mean, like, there's so many aspects of it, where you look at it. Shelby, I absolutely think that you should run. Like, if it is here's the thing, I know that it's a very personal decision because, wow, would that impact your family, right? But, I mean, there's a lot of part now I'm just not even making sense. There's quite a bit of me that's like, "Man, I should talk about this more, or I should run. I should try and do things to make changes." My children are very much social justice warriors, and I love it. They go to protests, and I've done some of that, but I just haven't had the availability with having the younger kids. Um, and so, no glass drink containers on the Vegas Strip. They charge. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Um, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate like how open you guys have been. And that this does feel like a safe space to me, which is funny because like you're on the internet for everyone to see. Um, but yes, 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 yes. I think this is the people who, if you can discuss it and not get defensive, not get mean, not get like belligerent, um, uh, it's I think it's a very valuable conversation. I do right now, this is the best part I can do is continuing to raise my children to be kind and to like serve and help and do those things. And that is my contribution right now. It is difficult. I don't know how you feel about this. It's difficult because I'm playing the long game, right? I don't get to see it right now. I don't get to see necessarily the immediate feedback and the immediate results of like, am I doing the right thing? Am I raising them right? I'm starting to see that now with um, my adult children, and I can see the people that they've become. And I'm like, you know what? You guys are amazing. Um, and they actually, each of my children has made a comment like, "Mom, we would love to come on your channel and talk about things." Um, one of them, I actually did. Do you guys follow the Reddit page that um Am I the Asshole Reddit page? It's hilarious. My daughter and I actually filmed a video forever ago and I just found it. Um where we talked about some of those and like our opinions and doing things on them. Um I Nothing hurts my heart more than people kicking their children out for being them. Um that is something, my husband and I firmly believe when we had children, we didn't have children to indoctrinate or to raise them to be just like us. And if they aren't, then they're out. We have raised our children to be very independent and to think for themselves. And as hard as that has been at some points, because I'm like, why don't you just do what I say? Seeing how that has come out has been very beautiful. But I know quite a few who have not been so lucky. I am a member of several different parent groups for LGBTQ youth. And it is just ridiculous how mean and that parents could be to their children. I can't even handle that. The homophobe, yes. Oh, thank you. We have very much tried to treat them as people most of the time, and I know we have not been perfect at it. And I guarantee we have given our children some things that they're going to have to work through in therapy. But we try, and we try to understand. I cannot imagine ever kicking my children out. I cannot. I think that's why, like, the Ruby Frankie thing is so detrimental, is because I just cannot ever imagine doing that to my children, hurting them intentionally in any way. It's rough. It's rough. So with that being said, thank you guys. There's some days that I feel like I'm doing great, and others I'm like, I am a horrible mom. And it's hard because, and I have 5 of them. It's a lot. It's a lot. It took your mom years to be accepting. It's interesting. So I had one child come out May of one year. She is gay. And then 3 months later, we had one come out as non-binary. That was the more difficult, especially from a religious perspective. That one was more difficult to understand, but we also then were able to make it. Oh, Elaine, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, 5's a lot. Yeah, 5 is a lot. We'll have to talk about it. And all of them have different neurodivergent issues, some of them that play off of each other. So our house is never boring. It's never boring. So, Rosie, I am so sorry. I think that's one of the most painful things, is when it's like, who you are and your parents won't see it. And, and honestly, I think for a little while we were that way with our now 18-year-old. It was more that we just like didn't understand. We were trying, but it didn't make sense until we truly like started listening. So, yeah. All right. Well, this ended up taking a turn I didn't think it was going to take, but I think it was supposed to take. So, if that makes any sense. Please know I have my email. I think I have my email in my description. If you ever need anything, Ashley, especially, I'm so sorry that you're struggling so much with this right now. My email is just Amy, AIMEEURE @gmail.com. You are welcome to message me at any time. And yeah, I am a pretty open book. I'm not going to lie. I do have some boundaries, but for the most part, I'll go there. Yeah. So honestly, I know this sounds weird, but I love you guys. I love this community. I love how just amazing this little corner of the internet has become for me. And it has been kind of the place I didn't know I needed. If that makes sense. So with that, I hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your day. And if you have any feedback or you have anything you would like me to talk about or address, or even if you have like, this may be an uncomfortable question, would you be comfortable answering it? You can send those my way too, because I am more than willing to go there. And if I'm not comfortable, I will say that. I will say I'm not comfortable. So, all right, you guys, have a good one, and I will talk to you later.